good afternoon, and good evening. My name is Sir Meerkat, and welcome back to the Moto Meerkat channel, and welcome to another episode of the ChatterBox podcast. Now, in last week's episode, I spoke to F1 Addict, who gave us an insight into how he managed to reach 200,000 followers on Instagram, and spoke about some hilarious stories, including almost getting run over by Pierre Gasly. So I'd make sure, if I was you, to go and watch that episode. But of course, only after this one, because today we are in for a real treat. Today I'm going to be speaking with a man who has raced quite the selection of cars at only the age of 23, with his current choice of machine being a Jaguar Formula 1 car. Quite the vehicle, I must say. Please welcome Riccardo Ponzio. How are you doing today, my good friend?
Hi, John. Yeah, thank you to invite me to this beautiful podcast. I'm here to listen all of your questions and all your curiosity about this adventure.
Yes, mate, I'm looking forward to speaking to you. I'm super excited. And yeah, as you say, very curious of everything you've got going on. So whereabouts are you speaking to me from today?
What you want that I can say to you. Now we are waiting for the new season. The start of the new season is a really busy part of the year. The car is under the hand of my mechanics. Now is they carry it after the last season. We did two races in Spa, and we had the little crash down to Rouge.
Mm-hmm.
That bring to us a lot of work to do this winter to bring the car back to all the original beauty and all the original spirit of the car.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just to clarify as well, it wasn't your fault, the crash, was it? It was some sort of failure, wasn't it?
Yeah. It's the rear suspension collapsed after the curves down to Rouge. So
right.
I really was a passenger after that. Yeah, maybe at 280 kilometers per hour is not that easy, but I managed. All that I can do was to manage a little bit with the brakes and with the steering wheel, just to slow down a little bit. But the crash was a little bit hard. But hopefully the car didn't feel a lot this damage, because the next day we raced and we did a perfect second place in both the races of the Sunday. So yeah, the mechanics worked all the nights on that beauty, but it worked.
Yeah, they clearly did a great job at getting you back in the car. And I can say I saw the onboard of that crash, and it was quite worrying. I would have been a bit scared suddenly spinning around going up Rouge. Oh my goodness, yeah. You've got bigger balls than me.
It was like now I have the Rouge in front, and now I saw the back of my car. Something didn't work well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, frustrating one, but yeah, at least you managed to get back out on track, and your mechanics doing a great job. But yeah, we'll speak a lot more about that Jaguar car a little bit later, because it is an absolutely incredible beast. Let's bring it slightly further back in your life. Where exactly did you grow up, and how was growing up like for you? Would you say you were a good kid, a bad kid? What do you reckon?
Maybe I can consider me a good kid. Or maybe
maybe
a bad kid, but with a good kid vest on.
Right.
Like the first impression that normal people have when they meet me is, he's a good guy, but I have quite an intense childhood. But I didn't grow up in a motorsport motorsport environment. No, my family was not really passionate about motorsport or cars in general, so it was something that came from really my inside. No, it was something that I felt, and during my childhood, I was trying to go always on karts and all stuff like that, motocross, all that ever had an engine for me was really, really cool. So after that, at the age of 12, 13, I started going on the kart, but the really swap to try to do a professional career was at the age of 16, where I jumped in a Formula 4 Italian championship, no? Formula 4 car with not a really good background. It was more like a bet for me, because I find in that championship Mick Schumacher, Lando Norris, yeah, people that are quite good.
Yeah,
they are quite fast, a little bit fast, yeah. But it was my really first step in motorsport that went well for the background that I had. So I really managed some points and I came close to some podium, but I also don't had the what can I say? No, Norris was racing with Nuke Motorsport, Mick Schumacher with Prema. I was not in a top team, so for me was much more difficult to get in front of them. But I managed a little bit. I did my experience at that level that grew me a lot. I grew up a lot in that period. And after that, I tried to jump in a Formula 3 car. And this was my key in my career, because the Formula 3 car was really fit for me. The Dallara F3 is so far the best car in motorsport. I think that every driver can say that.
Okay.
When I jump in the Jag for the first time, looked like the F3 with much more power, much more braking power, much more tire. So that was an amazing feeling to that F3 car was really like in Italian we say like a glow, like un guanto. I forgot how to say in English, but yes, it was perfect. Yeah, the championship that I did, that was an Italian championship. I gained the half of the victory, 6 victory on 12 races, 4 pole position on 7 events, and was an amazing year with no test, no budget. So I managed a good partnership with Pure Sport. That was a team that didn't win at all, and yeah, we won the championship with 1 race to go. It was an amazing year, and from there I start my what can I say, my semi-professional career in motorsport.
Yeah, mate, that's a sweet story, and we're only just really getting started. I would like to bring it back just slightly though, because I have one question to ask. When you moved up from karting to single-seater racing in the Formula 4, how did you find that change? Because some drivers can find it super easy and move over, and some drivers can take a little bit of time getting used to that new kind of style of racing. How did you find it?
It's something that is very personal because it depends how much you are addicted to join a Formula 4 car that have the much more weight, less braking power compared to a KZ, for example. Is something that is very different. But if you want to drive a Formula 4 car like a kart, is the winning mentality. So you need to adapt to a Formula 4 car that have much more weight, much less brake power. The grip is not exactly something that you feel a lot. On the kart, you feel much more the grip, much more the tarmac, much more the chassis of the car. The Formula 4 car is like a big whale in confront of the car. But it's a step that you need to do. You also learn a lot of things about the setup, about the manage of also the race, because the car is bigger confront of a kart, and you have to you don't see because you are so low. You only see the top of the tires, of the front tires, and just your other cars. And so you have to manage this. You have the rear mirrors that somebody forgot to use during the race, and it's not that funny. But it's a step that you have to do in that category, and every good driver need to adapt very fast.
Exactly. Yeah, different kind of experience of driving and racing, but as you say, a step that you have to make to kind of move up that motorsports ladder. But I'll move on. A kind of similar question, to be honest, and hopefully I'm getting the timeline of the story right. I do hope so. After you had that experience with single-seater racing, I believe you then switched over to the European Le Mans series for 2018, driving a Norma M30, which, by the way, guys, if you listen out there and you haven't heard what a Norma M30 sounds like, it's absolutely epic. So I'd highly recommend you going and giving one of them a listen on YouTube somewhere. But obviously, after you finish this episode, obviously. But what would you say was the biggest difference from switching from a Formula car to a more of sort of LMP3 style racing car?
Yeah, no, it was a so much different car from a Formula, because it's very much more similar to a GT cars that not a Formula. It's really a particular car because the weight is 1,000 kilo. A Formula 3 car that I drove previous year was only 570 kilo. So it's much more.
Nearly half, yeah.
Wow. Yeah, it's so much. You don't have the aero under 170 kilometers per hour. So you only feel the aero over that speed. So I remember that on the slow part, the car it's 5 meters long. So on the long part, on the slow part, the car was really slow. But when you go up to Rouge, you go, me and other 10 drivers, we go flat out on the Rouge with the LMP3, and you really feel that you have a lot of weight, a lot of aero that the car want to stay down, but it's heavy, and you go on the fast part. Is like a roller coaster. It's a very strange car. After 170 kilometers per hour is fantastic. Under that speed, it was more like a whale. as I said.
Yeah.
But as you said, the engine was awesome. No, is was something that you really feel when you drive that car, and an engine that is so better is the LMP2 engine. One thing that I remember is that when you race in LMP in ELMS, you have also you race with the GT and LMP2. When LMP2 had to overtake you, you first you hear the sound of the weight of the LMP2, and after you saw that on your side it had to overtake you. It's something that really that is really exciting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can imagine. That sounds sweet, but yeah, there you go. Then that's the plan. If you just don't go under 170 kilometers, then the car's perfect. So sweet, there's the plan. Just keep it above 170 kilometers.
Just go fast. Just go fast.
Yeah, not quite possible at some tracks, really, is it? But we can try. But yeah, so then in 2019, you switched again to the Italian Sport Prototype Championship, piloting a Wolf GB08 Thunder, an amazing name. And you managed to get, I believe, if my sources are correct, 3 wins and 8 podiums. So can you give us an insight into that season, any specific highs or lows, and what was it like to get onto the top step of the podium?
Yeah, one thing happened after the ELMS. I had 2 choices to do. One was to continue to LMS, but as a silver driver, you have to manage what your mates are. If they are fast, you can grow up because the car can go in front. If they are not so fast and maybe you have difficult to put the car in front, I don't know if this was the perfect way for my career. And during that period, some of my managers come to me and said me, yeah, maybe there is the possibility to race on a F1 Jag. Yeah. So I said, yeah, what can I do to race with the F1 Jag? And they said me, yeah, you have to wait 1 year because something is happened. And so, yeah, let's find a championship where you can, race, but if you have to leave, leave to race with the Formula One. So I can't do another year with the LMS because when you do that, you have the contract that keep you very tight to the team. You have to do all the races, all the tests, and no, for me now the principal focus was on the Formula One. Gotcha. And so I find a team that never won, never raced. I accorded the budget that was not high, and I said them that for me that was a second program, and if I had another opportunity, I had to go. But we start as new team with the new car, and all the other teams do an entire year of preparation, because that with this car it was the second year. So for us it was a complete new car, complete new everything, and we never go under the 5th place in during the races. So it was the starting grid was over 20 drivers. So we always did a great job. We almost win the championship. That the last races I won, and my opponent arrived 3rd. and for I think 6 points or something like that, we arrived second. There were also a big money prize, but yeah, it was part of the game. So I really have good memories about that year. It was a good racing fight, good racing fights, good team. Yeah, great journey.
Yeah, that sounds like a good fun, that one. And that car, let me scroll back, what was it called again? An incredible name, a Wolf GB08 Thunder. I was looking at it before we started chatting. Doesn't it it has a bike engine, right?
Yeah, unfortunately it was. Yeah, it is a super bike engine of Aprilia. It's only 1000 cc and have an extraordinary power of 230 horsepower. That on a car that weight only 380 kilos is awesome. On the lap time is only 3 or 4 seconds slower than a Formula 3 car. So much faster than a Formula 4. And for example, in a track like Mugello, we did the same lap times of the GT3. So it was a car that was really fast, a little bit strange because the motor bicycle engine need a straight axle, rear axle, so no differential at all. And so the driving was always on the edge, but yes, with an extraordinary aero and an extraordinary lightweight, that the car was flying out the in some tracks. I had really fun, and yeah, waiting for the in that period I was waiting for the Jag, so it was a good year.
Yeah, a good intermediary to the Jag. But yeah, sorry, I just had to bring that up because when I was researching it beforehand, it was the clips I was watching was so weird. I was looking at it and it was definitely a car. But then if I closed my eyes, I felt like I was watching MotoGP. It was so odd. But it was a very cool car. And as you say, it certainly went like the clappers. That thing was quick. So yeah, a fantastic intermediary there. But finally, moving on to 2020, last year, of course, and the first year that you were able to race in the BOSSGP and in, as you say, a Jaguar R3 Formula 1 car. So how did you end up deciding to join BOSSGP specifically? And also, you kind of spoke about it earlier, but how did you manage to get in possession of such an amazing car?
Yeah, it was a long journey. As I said, something that started from 2019, and in some, it's manage an F1 car is something that you have to project a lot. It is not the Jaguar F1 team in 2001 had something like 200 people that had to manage the car, no?
Wow.
Yeah, like Formula 1 team here. McLaren now, I think that had something like 450, Mercedes, 800 people work on that, no? We are not so much. I had an agreement that I have this collector that have the car, and he said me, yeah, I don't have the know-how to manage that car in a race track.
Gotcha.
Do you think that you can build up a team that can manage it? I also I had during my career, I had a lot of contacts that I put together, and I really built up a little Formula One team from nothing. And we first of all, we had a partnership with LRS, that is this French company that currently rents some of them F1 to normal people, and the strategic partnership works because they had a lot of contact with Oreca, that I think that all motorsport fans know, and they managed a lot of Cosworth V10, because the more difficult part of the project was on the engine and the gearbox, because Formula One engine is something that maybe could go over our possibilities, no? The partnership with Oreca was perfect, because they knew all about the engine, and the Cosworth currently exists, so they can provide spare parts. It is not something that is common, because if you want to run with a BMW Sauber, the BMW Formula One doesn't exist. So how you can find a spare part for that engine? If you broke that, you can repair it. So this is something that is very important, because we, for all the year, we had a spare engine on the truck, and spare gearbox on the truck, that if for any problem, just in case, you can just swap it. And that for the engine. There is another part of the project that was on the structure of the team, means like all. Just let me explain. If you run with a free car, Dallara provides you some tools that you need to have to run the car, like from the front crick, because the wing of the F3 car is different from any other wing, no? So you need to have the perfect front crick, from the specific tools to work on the engine, or specific pieces of the car, like bolt and screw, that on the Formula One are specific for that model. So we find other partnership to build all the small parts that you need to run the car, and this was so far the most difficult part. But we created from zero some pieces. For example, the gun to lock the tire. They are specific for each F1 team have their system, and to lock the ball, no? So it was something like this. All the small parts. If one small part doesn't work, the car is in the box. No way. The first time that we planned a test in Magny-Cours was a very special moment for me, because all 1 year and a half to prepare all that. Also, there is the waiting to jump in on a real F1, the seating. The seat fitting. I finally booked my tickets on the plane to Magny-Cours, and when I found the car that was perfect, and the first 2 hours to run F1 car is only to warm up the liquid parts, so water and oil. You have to wait 2 hours that the water have to reach slowly 19 degree, and also is also the same for the oil. And so I will really never forgot this particular moment and after.
Oh yeah, no, I can imagine. But yeah, just a Formula One car is so unbelievably complex, especially when you're dealing with one from sort of almost 20 years ago. I can imagine it would get a little bit difficult to find parts, and it's a bit difficult to drive at 100% if you think, if I crash this, I literally cannot rebuild it. So yeah, that's good that you were able to kind of relatively sort that out, no matter if it did take quite a bit of effort. But I did want to ask, you slightly touched on it earlier, but I'd like a bit more detail. When you first got in that F1 car at the Magny-Cours test, how did you find it for the first time? Because when I was speaking to Alexander Rossi, he said the most difficult part when he first got into Formula One car was the brakes. Did you also find that, or was there something else that you found a little bit more challenging?
First of all, the first fire up of the engine when you are inside a Formula One car is something that you really you really will remember for all of your life. When they fire up my V10 behind my back for the first time was something that for a race car driver, but even for a normal human, is something that is unbelievable. Yeah, after that, you have to run. Is my word. So that particular day was really, really cold, and I didn't have blankets, so hot, and traction control. So the car was like not on ice, but something like that. But the first feeling was great for me. Something that I said immediately, it was that this car is perfect. Because a Formula One car is better than all the other car that I drove. You can brake better. The throttle, you can manage it as you want with the electronics, so it fits perfect for you. The chassis is the better that I ever drive. The Aero is even if it was 20 years ago, it was also perfect. So for me, the first feeling was amazing. For the braking, you know that the Jaguar F1 car have a carbon brake disc. So if they are not hot, the first feeling that you feel is that the first bite, the brake are already cold. After that, they warm up immediately, and so the first bite, the car didn't brake. After that, all the system warm up and the car brake a lot. So after that you do 2-3 laps, the brake became hotter, and they brake like a Formula 3 car. Let me explain. With a Formula 3 car, for example, in Monza, you brake at, in qualifying, you brake at 70 meters, more or less, at 250 kilometers per hour. Okay. With a Formula 1 car, you brake at 110, 120 meters at 330 kilometers per hour. Yeah. So with a lot of aero. So is all balanced. The feeling of the braking, yes, but it's something that that I already managed in with the previous car that I drive.
Yeah, such a complex car, but as you say, even like a 20-year-old one, still absolute perfection. They really are. And as you say about the V10 engine, oh my god, I can't even imagine it, man. It must be absolutely epic having that thing roaring behind you. Oh my god, like a tame beast. But yeah, so you did. Sorry, did you want to say something?
Yeah, no, just imagine that the minimum, when you have the throttle to idle, is 6,050 RPM. If you think that a normal car
Idle.
on the rev limiter is at 600,000
Oh my god.
RPM, it's something that really it's really impressive.
Yeah.
And,
yeah, that's just
When
ridiculous.
you go up to 15,000 to I really went to 18,200. When you go on that zone, the engine is literally screaming.
Yeah,
something
genuinely just absolutely screaming at you. But yeah, unbelievable. And even to just stand at the side of the track, seeing those things going around is epic. So yeah, being inside must be pretty awesome. But yeah, you got involved with the Boss GP and tasted some success. You got 2 podiums last year and ended up finishing 3rd in the championship, only being beaten out by, now excuse my pronunciation, Ulf Enninger. I'm going to go with that. In the Benetton B197 and Ingo Gerstel in the Toro Rosso STR1. So what are your goals for the 2021 Boss GP season? And do you reckon that you can beat those 2 this time around?
Wow. First of all, the previous year, we arrived 3rd, but we did not all the races because we had, of course, the crash in Spa, and we want to wait a little bit to rebuild some pieces that we didn't have. So if we crashed after that, we don't have any more spare parts. So it's something that you have to think when you have a Formula One car to drive. So, but we had an amazing fight with Ingo. First of all, we had an amazing fight in Spa with overtake on overtakes, and I was in the first position at 5 minutes to go, and he passed me on the straight on the last 3 laps, and after that there was a safety car, and so we end up like that, and so we end up in 2nd place for 2021. Of course, we want to end up in 1st position for hopefully for at least 1 race.
Definitely,
maybe
more.
Oh,
definitely. You got to be optimistic. I believe in you, sir. I believe in you. But I'll definitely be watching you, cheering you on, my friend. And of course, I wish you the best of luck for that following season and any future motorsport endeavors that you do undertake. But that's about all the questioning from me today. However, the fans have sent in some questions for you to answer on my Instagram and Twitter, if that's okay.
Yeah. Super.
Awesome. So yeah, as I say, you guys have sent in some questions for Riccardo over on my Instagram and Twitter. If you'd like to get involved with asking future guests any questions, you can find the links to both of my Instagram and Twitter in the description down below. Make sure you go and drop me a follow. But yeah, we'll get started with the first question. At WillB17K on Instagram asks, did you have to train a lot to get the reaction times needed to drive a Formula One car?
Yes, it's something that you have to plan before you drive a Formula One car. The training is not only on the reaction, because the reaction of a Formula One car are really fast, but you know that you have to manage all the things on the steering wheel that you didn't do the previous series. So during the race, your eyes are more on the steering wheel than on the track. So yes, for the reaction, but you also need to know everything about your car, everything about your steering wheel, and everything about, for example, the temperatures that you have, that you need to have on the steering wheel. If something doesn't look like you know that need to look, you have immediately to stop, because these engines are, yes, beautiful, but also you need to take care of them. So
yeah.
something
So
that you really need to put attention in.
mhm. Yeah, exactly. So yes, reaction times take a lot of training, but everything takes a lot of training and getting sorted. So yeah, that kind of makes sense with a Formula One car there. So at Callum Smith BMX on Instagram asks, what is your favorite F1 team and F1 driver of all time?
Of all time, yeah.
Of all time, not necessarily just now.
Quite difficult
It is a
question.
tough one.
For me, the best driver that I saw in track for me at the moment is Leclerc, because I think that he have a talent that is really huge, and he really didn't do mistake, didn't feel the pressure. He is always on point, so he's always really professional, even if he's young. But yeah, there are a lot of good drivers. My favorite is Leclerc. For the team, I think that what Mercedes did in the last 6 years, 7 years,
Amazing.
I didn't remember how many championships they win, but it's something that is amazing. With a little sadness, I said that I think that Ferrari had to really learn from them, because what they did is something that set a benchmark really higher than other places.
Yeah. Mercedes really came in and showed everyone how it's done, didn't they? But yeah, hopefully for Leclerc's sake anyway, Ferrari can get a little bit better. Maybe not this coming year, seems a little bit unlikely, but hopefully with the rule change, we might see Leclerc being a future world champion. You never know.
When they changed the rules, it's something that makes the value, of the teams. But yeah, as I said, with a little sadness, I think that Ferrari need to work more on the structure, on the inside. I saw that Mercedes is always one step forward.
Yeah, Mercedes is just such a well-oiled machine, isn't it? The whole thing just works perfectly in tandem, whereas Ferrari can be a little bit more, I don't know what the right word is to not offend a lot of people, so I think we'll move on to the final question. So, final question of the day. At Mayor Vlad16 on Instagram asks, what other sports do you watch? Is there anything other than motorsport that you're really into following?
Yeah, I really... I think that every race car driver is a sports fan. I really enjoy watching, for example, now the sailing. I think that a lot of people are following the America's Cup. For our country, the Italians are in final. Luna Rossa is against New Zealand, and it's something that is really similar to the Formula One world, technology of the boat, and this no, the helmsmen that are like the drivers for the cars is something very good. But I also play golf in my free time. It is not a lot, but I enjoy also to follow these sports.
Gotcha. So not quite at the PGA Tour level of golf as of yet, but maybe in the future.
I think that I'm really much better at the wheel. Not
okay. Yeah, we'll stick to wheels then for now anyway, rather than balls. But but yeah, there we are. That's all for today's episode of the ChatterBox podcast, I do believe. A huge thank you for giving up your time to chat with me today, Riccardo. Just to finish off, do you have anything that you'd like to say to any fans of yourself who may be listening or watching, who will be following you in BOSSGP this year and cheering you on?
Yeah, if you want to really feel what means to drive a Formula One car, or to be really inside on a team that currently run a Formula One car, just follow me, and in all my stories you will find the little particulars that you normally don't see when you follow the F1.
Definitely a much more personable experience. And BOSSGP definitely being a fantastic championship to follow. I certainly will be following it myself. But that's awesome, mate. I wish you the best of luck with this year in BOSSGP and anything, of course, that you do in future. But otherwise, thank you all so much for watching. If you did enjoy this episode, be sure to drop a like on it down below and subscribe as well. That's obviously if you're watching on YouTube. If you're listening on some other kind of podcast platform, drop us a follow so you don't miss any of the future episodes. But I've been Sir Meerkat. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see all of you Meerkats later. Goodbye, guys.